Hello and welcome to Vinyasa Flow Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. For today's practice, you may want to have a strap, 2 blocks, and a blanket. Let's begin in a comfortable seat, and you may like to elevate your pelvis on a folded blanket as I invite you to sit in auspicious pose, which is sort of like crossing the legs. You want to turn out the thighs at the hips, which is going to be a recurring theme in our physical asanas today. So sit in a way that you can turn out the thighs. If you're feeling the hips are kind of resistant, you can scoot the knees closer together so there's a narrower distance and cross at the middle of the shins, or elevate your pelvis even higher so the knees can fall open more easily. Here's a succinct quote by mindfulness teacher Jack Kornfield in his book, Buddha's Little Instruction Book. Whatever we cultivate in times of ease, we gather as strength for times of change. I'll say that again. Whatever we cultivate in times of ease, we gather as strength for times of change. And just take a moment to see how that resonates with you or how that sits with you. In the first limb of yoga, the yamas, which are the practices in which we harmonize with the world around us, there is one practice called brahmacharya, and loosely translated, it means wise use of energy. It's about consciously sourcing our energy, directing it, sustaining it, and balancing it efficiently. And energy includes where we put our focus, right? What we choose to attend to. And then in the second limb of yoga, the niyamas, which are the spiritual practices that help us to align with our inner being, there is one practice called tapas. You might remember that it's often translated as fiery discipline, having the willpower to stay on the path and come back onto the spiritual path when you may have digressed. So these two, along with sankalpa, which is setting an intention from within, a sustainable intention, your bigger picture, are such important ways to live consciously. So when times are going so smoothly, rather than taking it for granted, we can use that time to cultivate the habits when it's a little easier to be aware of what we're cultivating, that we want to be our default or our accessible tools when we're feeling groundlessness, when we're feeling ungrounded, like in times of change, when our peace may be disrupted. So here we are. Let's sit still. Feel the earth or what you're sitting on. Let your spine rise, heart rise. Bring your attention to your physical body and its sensations. Notice the sensations of your natural breath. Feeling into your energetic state. What is your energy like now in this moment? From what you've done just before, from what you've been thinking about today, how has that affected you now? Notice your mind, the energy of your thoughts, and how they affect you emotionally. And let's begin to deepen the breath in through the nose, gently expanding it within the body. And slowly exhale through the mouth. A little bit slower, a little bit deeper, in through the nose. And just as slowly out through the mouth. Once more. Let's open our practice as we share it in community by joining our voices in 3 ohms. Inhale deeply. Oh. begin to practice Ujjayi Pranayama or victorious breathing by closing the lips, softly narrowing the back of the throat, and sustaining a soft whispering sound evenly in and out through the nose. Using this technique to help regulate the energy of your mind and body to a state of ease, a state of balance. Now, as you're sitting cross-legged, please switch the cross of your shin on top or in front and backstroke your right hand behind your pelvis. Raise your left arm up and sit tall as you press your 2 sitting bones down. Breathe in. Keep your pelvis still, and to your right, exhale to twist, lowering the left hand on your lap or maybe pressing the back of it against your outer right thigh. Press through the hips again and lift up through the back of your skull. Exhaling, draw the navel in and continue to twist. One more deep breath. Emptying this breath, release to center and circle your left hand behind your pelvis. Raise your right arm up, press down through the pelvis, breathe in, lift up through your spine. And to your left, exhale, twist. Lowering your right arm, either on your lap or maybe pressing the back of the hand outside your left thigh. Feel what you're sitting on as you press into it. Encourage to lift up all the way through your crown. And with your exhales, draw in the navel and continue to twist. One more deep breath. And then release. Let's make our way to stand at the top of the mats, separating the feet hips distance or wider apart. Parallel your feet. Bring your hands behind your lower back and either interlace your fingers or take hold of a strap between the hands. As you spread the toes, roll the shoulders down. Inhale, look up. Exhale, hinging from your hips. Try to keep the fullest length of your spine like a flat back. So if needed, bend your knees so that you can maintain that. Let the head fall. And like you're pulling the hands apart, bend the elbows slightly and stretch the arms away from your back. Opening the front of the shoulders, lift the shoulders up away from your neck. Now let's straighten the right leg. Bend the left knee generously and lean your torso towards the outside of your right leg. Sending breath awareness into your hamstring and calf. Then bend the right knee a lot. Maybe switch the interlacing of the thumb and index on top. Straighten your left leg and lean to the outside of it. As you come back to center, maybe with slightly bent knees, sweep the arms forward and inhale, rise all the way up to stand. Roll the shoulders behind the ears and down into a gentle back bend, hugging in the front ribs. Exhale, join your hands to meet in Padasana. What's one thing you can appreciate right now as you stand here? Cultivating gratitude to empower your sankalpa. Now, what is your why today? What is the bigger picture for you showing up to your yoga practice? What are you cultivating in the habits that you're reinforcing here? And stepping beyond our individual selves, perhaps choose someone or something that you care about to dedicate your practice to today, making an offering of your efforts. And so with gratitude and intention, let's flow to the breath. Surya Namaskar, C. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, roll the shoulders back and down into a back bend. Exhale, bow from your hips. Plant your fingertips. Inhale, step the left knee back to a kneeling lunge and look up. Hold your breath as you step into plank pose, legs straight or knees on the ground. Exhale, lower the knees, then the chest and chin into a back bend called Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide your belly to the floor and coil your chest up to Bhujangasana, Cobra. Tuck your toes. Exhale, lift your hips back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, Downward Dog. Inhale, step the left foot beside your left thumb and lower your back knee, look up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and fold. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, rise into a back bend. Exhale your hands to your heart. One more, second side, inhale, sweep your arms forward and coil your chest up. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your fingertips. Inhale, step your right knee back, look up. Hold your breath as you step to plank. Exhale, lower knees, chest and chin. Inhale, slide to the ground into Cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes, press back to downward facing dog. Inhale, step the right foot beside your right thumb and lower your back knee, look up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and fold. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, back bending at the top. Exhale, hands together at your heart. Let's move into Sun Salutation A. Inhale, sweep your arms forward and coil your chest up again. Exhale, forward fold. This time, press into blocks, your shins or the ground. And inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Walk into plank and pause. Let's take 3 to 5 breaths holding still. Stack your shoulders right above your wrists and look at the ground in front of your thumbs. Rotate your outer upper arms towards the back of your mat and lift slightly between the shoulder blades. From back to your inner heels and lift the sides of your waist. Exhaling, glide forward as far as you can before bending your elbows to frame your rib cage. Lower all the way or flip the toes from here. Inhale to Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. This time let's hold still, steady your gaze on one spot. One way of being intentional with how you direct your visual energy. 3 breaths. At the end of your next exhale, walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, rise into a standing back bend. Exhale to your heart. One more time, inhale, arms forward, coil your chest up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen forward, step to plank and lower slowly or float lightly into Chaturanga with elbows bent. Inhale, Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pause for 3 breaths. Listen to the quality of your breathing. And as you regulate your breathing, use that to intentionally direct your energy. When you finish the 3rd exhale, walk or lightly jump to the top. Then inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Rooting down. Inhale, rise, standing back bend. Exhale to your heart. Let's take a round of Sun Salutation B. With knees touching, feet touching, inhale, sit low into chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhale, bow, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Step and lower or float to Chaturanga. Continue through your Vinyasa. Back to downward dog. And there, inhale, raise your right leg, keeping your hips leveled. Exhale, round forward, bending the knee towards your nose. And softly step the foot beside your right thumb. Drop your back heel and face forward, rising to Warrior One. As you exhale, lower from plank into your Vinyasa. At downward facing dog, inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale, bend the knee towards your nose and round into plank. Stepping the foot beside your left thumb, drop your back heel face forward. Inhale, rise to Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lower into your Vinyasa. At downward facing dog, slow down the breath for 3 cycles here, steadying your gaze, your drishti. What are you cultivating in how you're approaching your physical poses, your movements, your breath? Exhale, then walk or float to the front of your mat. With feet touching, inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees together. Inhale, chair. Exhale, Padasana. Let's separate the feet hips width parallel. Bring your hands to your hips. Roll the shoulders back. Inhale, look up. Then bowing from your hips again, lengthen the spine like you're trying to maintain a flat back. Hug in the front ribs. Feel free to bend the knees if needed. Fold in any way that gives you ease here for a few breaths. Like you might catch hold of opposite elbows and sway the spine, shake the head, flutter the lips. Or anything that suits you here. As you reground in the steadiness of your breathing. Then please step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you again, square the hips. Exhale, round forward, lift the belly high as you dome the back. Step the foot beside right thumb, stay high in the ball of the back foot. Inhale, rise to crescent lunge. Right away, steady your gaze. Be intentional with where you're directing your visual focus. Bend the front knee right on top of your heel and scissor your right hip back. Optional to bend the back knee as you help direct the tailbone down and lift your frontal hip bones. Sending the left outer hip forward. Couple more breaths. You can have your hands together or apart. Warrior 2, spin the left heel down, align the right heel to the arch of the left foot. Open your arms wide and gaze past your right fingertips. As you bend the front knee right on top of the heel, maybe towards the 90-degree angle, press the outer edge of the left foot firmly into the floor. Wrap your right outer hip under your body to point the right knee out towards your pinky toe as you firm the top of your left thigh bone back towards you. Lower your fingertips to frame your right foot. Lift the back heel, come back to a high lunge and plant the left hand flat on the ground, spreading the fingers. We're preparing for side plank. One version is a supported where you place the left knee on the floor right under your left hip. Make sure that your left shoulder is right on top of your left wrist. If you're taking the supported version, keep the left knee there and step the right foot to the rear of your mat just behind your left toes, then raise your right arm. Otherwise, straighten both of your legs and flex both of your feet as you stack them. Press the ground away, lifting the left hip high. Turn your right hip forward to stack right above it. Last few breaths, Vashisthasana, side plank. Gaze at your left hand, sweep the right arm overhead, and step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you, square your hips. Exhale, lift your navel high as you round into plank. Step the foot beside your left thumb, coming into a high lunge. Then inhale, rise up into crescent pose. Let your eyes arrive. Feel your breath. Presence in your body. Bending front knee just over the heel. Scissor the left outer hip back. Drop the tailbone and lift your frontal hip bones, bringing the right hip forward. Warrior two, spin the right heel down and align your left heel to the arch of your right foot. Open your arms apart and gaze past your left hand. As you bend your left knee just above the heel, rotate the left outer hip under. Press the outer right foot into the earth and firm the top of your right thigh bone back. Virabhadrasana 2. Let's lower the fingertips to frame the left foot and come back to a high lunge. Now set up your side plank the same way you did on the first side if possible. If you're gonna lower the right knee, make sure it's right under your right hip. Plant the right hand flat on the floor with your right shoulder directly above the wrist. Step the left foot to the rear of your mat and raise the left arm. Full side plank, straighten both legs, flex both feet as you stack them. Press the ground away and lift the right hip high. Turn your left hip forward so it stacks right above the right hip, just like the shoulders are stacking. Vashisthasana. Gaze at your right hand, sweep the left arm overhead, and please step back to downward facing dog. Bend your knees, walk or float to the front of your mat. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees into chair, and please join your hands at your heart. Let's continue opening the hips externally. Turn out the right thigh and flex the right foot, crossing the ankle over your left thigh into a figure four shape. Draw your sitting bones back so that you're bending the left knee right above the heel and not in front of the heel. Feel your belly activate here. Draw the navel in and up. You might raise the arms. We're going to transition into another standing balancing pose. So let's stay in this variation a couple more deep breaths. Keep flexing your right foot. Keep rotating the right thigh open. Now as we stay balancing on your left foot, bend your right knee in front of you, rise up to stand on the left leg. Place the left hand on the left hip and bring the right arm on the inside of the right thigh. Either taking hold of the shin so you can keep the knee bent as we open the leg, or clasping the big toe with your index and middle fingers and kicking the foot forward to whatever degree you can straighten it while your spine stays upright. Rotate or drop the right sitting bone down and then turn out the right leg before you open it out to the right. Hand to big toe pose. And to balance, open the left arm out to the left. Utthita Hasta Parangushthasana. If your balance feels pretty stable, maybe gaze past the left hand. Gazing forward again, bring your right leg in front. Raise the arms overhead, flex the foot, breathe in, and then exhale, step the foot down. Bend your knees together, join your hands at your heart, and let's enter twisting chair, Parita Utkatasana, to the right. Inhale, lengthen your spine, sink the hips back. Exhale, keep the hips still and rotate your chest to the right. A few breaths, inhale, keep the heart higher than your hips, keep the knees in one line. Exhale, continue to twist. You might hook the left elbow outside your right thigh. You might keep your hands in prayer Bringing the center of your chest to meet your thumbs, or spread the arms apart. Steadying your breathing for one more cycle. Sinking your hips, raise your arms. Inhale back to chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair. We'll start in our hip opening version. Join your hands at your heart, shift your weight onto your right foot and turn out the left thigh. Flex the left foot and cross the ankle over your right thigh. Draw your sitting bones back and down, stacking the right knee above the heel. Keep the belly engaged. Maybe raise the arms. What are you giving your energy to in this moment? Through your thoughts, through your energetic approach in your body. One more breath here. Now keep your weight on your right foot. Place your right hand on your right hip and bend the left knee in front of you, still flexing the left foot, rise to stand on one leg. Bring the left arm on the inner side of your left thigh, maybe holding the shin if you want to keep the knee bent, or clasping your big toe with your index and middle fingers, in which you can kick the foot forward and pull the left shoulder back. Rotate your left thigh externally here before you start to open the leg slowly and open the right arm too. Hand to big toe pose. Uttita Hasta Parangushtasana. If your balance feels pretty stable, maybe look past your right hand. Gazing forward again, bring your left leg in front of you. Raise your arms, but keep the left leg lifted. Inhale here. Exhale, step the left foot to meet the right. Bend your knees together. Inhale, chair. Join your hands at your heart and keep your hips still as you rotate your chest to the left. Twisting chair. Tacking the right hip back. You might choose to hook the right elbow outside your left thigh. Maybe bring the center of your chest to meet your thumbs or opening the arms apart. Parita Utkatasana. One more breath here. Sink your hips. Inhale back to chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen forward. Step or float back. Optional vinyasa or cat-cow to downward facing dog. Deep breaths. Downward dog. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Again, round into plank. Lift the belly high and round your back. Step the foot beside the right thumb. This time, drop the back heel and rise to warrior one. Scissoring the right hip back as you bend the front knee over the heel. Turning the left outer hip forward as you straighten the back leg, pressing the outer heel down. Hands together or apart. Relax the shoulders and tune into your breathing. Then align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot as though you were preparing for warrior two. Here's where you might use a strap. So take hold of the strap so you have more options. Like warrior two, wrap the right outer hip under and bend the front knee right over the heel towards the pinky toe. Left leg slightly turns in, press the outer foot firmly down and firm the top of the left thigh bone back. Now keep the belly active, draw in the front ribs. Take hold of the strap in your left hand and bring the long tail of it around your back to the right outer thigh. We're preparing for bound side angle pose, Baddha Parshvakonasana. Keeping the front knee bent, glide your hips towards the rear edge of your mat and lengthen your torso towards the front wall. Bring the right arm on the left side of your right thigh. Find the other end of the strap to hold. Press your right arm against your inner right thigh, but firm the thigh against your arm so the leg doesn't move. Walk the hands as close together as you can so that you're able to rotate your chest slightly towards the sky. You want to feel as though you're leaning back towards your right wall, not bowing forward towards your left wall. And be mindful of the sensations in the right side of your lower back. Not to impinge on it. Send the right hip crease towards the left outer heel and firm in the belly. Some of you might reach your hands to clasp and let go of the strap, or you might hold on to your left wrist. A few more breaths here. We're going to move into bound triangle, in which you might loosen the slack of the strap a bit so you're able to straighten the right leg and pull the hips further towards the rear wall. Keep lengthening the spine towards the front wall and rotating the chest towards the sky. Firm the front muscle of your right thigh to help you balance. And breathe. Baddha Trikonasana. Now you have the option of returning to bound side angle and maybe rising to warrior two for a rest, or take this into bird of paradise. It's a standing balance pose where you step the left foot to the top of your mat to meet the right foot. Feet are about hips width apart, staying in the bind. And you shift your weight onto your left foot, flexing the right foot off the floor. Rise up to stand on your left leg. When the spine, if the spine is completely vertical, consider straightening the right leg. Whatever variation you're practicing right now, tune into your breath, into what you're attending to mentally. What are you cultivating here right now? If you're in bird of paradise, step the right foot down, step the left foot back to bound side angle. Let's all meet in peaceful warrior with the right knee bent and side bending towards the rear wall, right arm overhead. Stay side bending as you straighten the right leg in reverse triangle. Inhale here. Exhale your hands to the floor. Let's meet in downward facing dog. For the sake of time, let go of practicing a vinyasa here. Tune into your breathing. In downward facing dog, inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, lift the belly high and round forward into plank. Then step the left foot beside your left thumb and drop the right heel. Facing forward, inhale, rise up to Virabhadrasana 1. Bending the front knee just over the heel, scissor your left hip back. Straightening the right leg. Rotate your right outer hip forward as you press the outer heel down. Let's set up the legs as though you're entering warrior two. Align your left heel to the arch of the right foot. Wrap the left outer hip under. Grab your strap if you might use it for bound side angle. Bend the front knee just over the heel and firm the top of the right thigh bone back. Take the strap in your right hand and bring the long tail behind you to hang outside your left thigh. Glide your hips sideways towards the rear of your mat and stretch your torso towards the front wall, reaching the left arm on the inner side of your left thigh to catch the other end of the strap. Press the left arm and leg against each other, keeping the left leg solid. As you rotate your chest towards the ceiling and your left hip underneath you, keep tacking the left hip back. You might clasp the hands, you might hold the right wrist. See what's available without straining the lower back. Hug in the front ribs. Baddha Parshva Konasana. We're going to move into bound triangle, so you might loosen the slack on the strap so that you're able to slowly straighten the left leg. Think of plugging the thigh bone deeper into the hip socket, so you're pulling the hips to the back wall while lengthening the crown of your head towards the front wall. Trying to maintain length in the left side of your torso as you turn your chest towards the sky. Baddha Trikonasana. Now you could return to bound side angle. You could rise up to warrior two and free up your arms, or join me towards bird of paradise, rebending the left knee and keeping the bind. Gazing at the top of your mat where you step the right foot next to the left. Separating the feet about hips width, transfer your weight onto your right foot. And flexing the left foot, begin to lift it off the ground, rising up to stand. Make sure that your spine is vertical before you consider straightening the left leg. Whatever position you're in, how is your breathing? What is your mental state? How are you directing and balancing your energy? If you're in bird of paradise, start to bend both knees. Maybe keep the bind of the arms as you lower the left foot. Step the right foot back to side angle. Then rise up to warrior two. Let's meet there. Flipping the left palm up into peaceful warrior. Side bending towards the back wall. Keep side bending and straighten the left leg into reverse triangle. Inhale here. Exhale, rise up to stand. And this time let your right foot meet the left. Come to sit on the ground. And grab your blocks, place them to frame your hips. We're going to play with a little bit more of core strengthening and through a posture called scale pose or tolasana. So we're going to use the help of blocks for this version. Place your hands on the blocks. Blocks are on their lowest height. Cross your ankles and flex your feet. So you're kind of locking them together. Now visualize lifting your pelvis off the ground. Think of lifting your pelvic floor, drawing your navel in and up as you press your hands down. You might do it on an exhale and see how long you can stay lifted. If it happens, if it doesn't, just putting in the effort. Here we go. And then set it down, straighten the legs, take a breath in Dandasana, stick pose. And let's do it one more time, switching the cross of the ankles. Flex the feet, take a deep breath, and lift. And then when you're ready, set it down. And this time, take your right thigh, turn it out the hip, and take hold of that right ankle, right shin or calf. Flex the right foot like when we did the figure four shape in chair pose, making sure you're stabilizing the right knee. You're not turning out from the knee, you're turning out from the thigh bone at the hip. So here you can hold the knee and foot, or you could hold this like a baby if that's possible, in the crooks of your elbows, maybe rocking the cradle a bit. This is a preparation for another posture called compass pose as we continue with our external rotation at the hips. So if you'd like to play with compass, sit up tall, flex both feet, helps ground, and then use your left hand to cross in front or on top of your right foot, catching the outer foot. And as you bend this right knee, bring it to the outside of your right shoulder. Place your right arm in front of the right thigh so the hand is on the floor, or you can place it on a block if that's easier to reach. And then as you ground, imagine your right leg is like a backpack strap that you're putting onto your shoulder. So walk it up to whatever degree You can still breathe comfortably and sit up. Sit up tall. Maybe you stay here or you begin to straighten the right leg to whatever degree is available and add a little twist by turning your chest to the left and towards the sky. Compass pose. Notice how it's quite similar to Bird of Paradise. And from here, there's another little play that you could practice, which is an arm balance if you'd like to. And it is called 8-angle pose. So coming into that, you keep that right thigh as high as you can towards the shoulder. Place the two hands either on blocks. Let me try it on blocks. I haven't done that before on blocks. Blocks can offer support. Or you place your hands on the floor. Take the left ankle and cross it on top of the right ankle, flexing the feet. And then you press down with the hands. And hopefully you're not wearing as much lotion as I am because it gets kind of slippery. And then you start to straighten the legs to the right. Maybe straighten the arms. 8-angle pose. And then come back down to sit. Take a moment, rest a hand on the heart, a hand on the belly, and close your eyes. 3 breaths. All right. Now let's turn out the left thigh at the hip. Take hold of the foot and the knee with your hands. Make sure you're flexing the foot, both feet actually, especially this left foot, so you're stabilizing the knee as you're opening the thigh at the hip. Maybe you rock the cradle here, or you bring it to the crooks of your elbows, it being your knee and the sole of your foot. Try to sit as tall as you can with the shoulders relaxed. So here we're priming the hip a little more to perhaps play with compass pose. And if you'd like to go there, cross your right hand to in front of and to the outside of your left foot. Bring the left knee towards the outside of your left shoulder, putting on the left thigh like a backpack strap on your left shoulder, however high it'll go. Place the left hand on the floor or on a block. And then sit up tall. Notice how your lower back feels. If you're doing this with integrity, meaning you're not trying to lift the leg for the sake of just lifting it without managing the spine, but instead, you're making sure your spine is upright and supported before considering straightening the leg, this can actually feel really releasing for the lower back. And then you might look over at the right or underneath the right elbow towards the sky. All right, and coming out of it, if you want to try that arm balance, that 8-angle pose, walk the left thigh up towards the left shoulder, place the hands on blocks or the floor, flex the feet and cross the right ankle over the left. Begin to extend the legs to the left. Ooh, slippery. And then lean your chest forward. And then come to sit. Let's come into downward facing dog. A few breaths. Now preparing for back bends. Come on down to your knees and let's open up the fronts of the thighs and hips just a little more in Supta Virasana, Supine Hero. So if you're able to sit on your calves, you might roll the calves gently aside and sit on the floor directly in between your ankles. If your knees are not okay with that and you're not sitting on the calves comfortably, you could instead place a block under your glutes to elevate the pelvis. Make sure that your toes are pointed back, not the feet turned out. Press your pinky toenails down and that helps to assure stability in the knees. Keeping your knees on the ground, to whatever degree you're able to start to lean back. As you're leaning back, direct your tailbone down and forward. Lift your frontal hip bone slightly towards your lowest front ribs and seal in your front ribs. You might place blocks behind you to catch you, or a pillow or blanket, your elbows, or come all the way down into your back. Again, listen to the sensations of your body guiding you to healthy parameters. If you're on your back, you might hold opposite elbows overhead, and then after a few breaths, switch elbows on top. Let's take about 5 more breaths where you are. When you're ready, press your hands into the ground and very slowly make your way up to sit. Let's take our first back bend, or first of our last few, in camel pose. Come on to stand on your knees. Feel free to use a block for lower back support by hugging the skinny width between your knees and thighs. Taking it twice, so the first round you might start more conservatively by tucking your toes. Place your hands on your lower back, fingertips face down. Press your hips forward gently and keep them right above your knees. Draw the tailbone towards between the knees and lift your back ribs. Inhale, lift your chest and roll the front of your shoulders back. Then hug your elbows closer together as you tilt your heart and gaze up. Lengthen the back of your neck. Give yourself another 5 breaths or so before you come out of the pose and sit. You might opt to backstroke one arm and hold on to the heel, maybe both arms, or switch arms. Keep pressing your hips forward, keeping them right above the knees. Let this posture encourage expansiveness in your in-breaths. Use your hands on your lower back to help you up as you lower to sit.
Michelle, I can't hear you. I don't know if anybody else can.
Yeah, I cannot hear too.
The music's working, just not the
Music is here, but not her voice.
yeah.
Sting. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
The receiver turned off. Thank you for telling me. Okay, hopefully you're out of your bow pose. Take your rest for a few breaths. And then prepare, if you haven't already done so, for your last bow pose or last back bend. 5 to 7 breaths. Dhanurasana.
Sound's not working again.
The receiver keeps turning off. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right, stay on. So you can also bend the left knee, place the right hand behind your pelvis, raise the left arm. Twisting to your right side, hold on to your front shin or hook the elbow outside of it. All right, it looks as though this receiver is having an issue.